Hello and welcome to today's edition of Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. It's a program where we take your questions, you send them to us via email, Father Gruner answers them, we have discussions about them, and please continue to send us your questions via email. The address is at the bottom of the screen, questions@thefatimacenter.com. We have been talking about Freemasonry as an enemy of the church, and we're inviting the readers to look at what Pope Leo XIII had to say about Freemasonry. The encyclical was 1884?
1884, yes.
Humanum Genus.
Yes.
And one of the things I think that is key, because once we understand this, we see that we live in a Masonic time.
Yes.
The very air we breathe is Masonic, because the self-proclaimed goal of Freemasonry is to lift, now this is not coming from me, this is coming from Leo XIII, is to lift civilization off of its Christian foundation and place it on one of sheer naturalism, in which the laws of God have no place. It's as if God doesn't exist. The only thing that matters is what men want, what men decide on, and as a result of this, and I think our friend Chris Ferreira could talk about this at great length, is what matters is human liberty. That man really should have the freedom to do whatever he wants, to say whatever he wants, to print whatever he wants, to publish whatever he wants, to sell whatever he wants, and no one can get in the way of that freedom.
See, that's, of course, the word liberty itself, from the French Revolution, which, of course, the Masons have acknowledged are the ones who are the authors of the French Revolution. And the motto of the French Revolution was liberty, equality, and fraternity. Of course, what they mean by the word liberty, and of course, Chris, in his book, Liberty, the God That Failed, liberty itself is a god or a goddess, I'm not quite sure which. The Statue of Liberty is a gift from the French Masons to the American Masons, saying this is what the American Revolution was about, this is what the French Revolution was about. All revolutions are about that. Revolution itself is to invert the order, to revolve the order. So what was, God should be the head? No, they want Satan to be the head. They want everything that the church should teach. No, they want Satan to be teaching. And you take everything that in God's order, they want to turn it upside down. They want to have a revolution. And so the French Revolution was fomented by, but in fact, I think that Chris makes a point that much of the American Revolution, there were Masons as well.
Yes, of course, yes.
And that the two are connected. They're not separate. And the connection is making more and more evident, and that's why his book is 700 pages. It's quite a book to read, but it certainly gives you a sense of that but liberty is not meant for the people who want to be free under God. No, if you want to have a Christmas picture outside in your lawn,
there's always the anti-Christian nature of it.
So it's liberty for us and slavery for them. But that's not the part they say. We want to have the freedom to break God's laws, but we don't want to have the freedom. We're going to restrict the freedom of Christians to live God's laws.
Yeah, I mean, a goal, like one of the goals of Freemasonry, is really this sense of a godless government. That the God of the Old Testament, the God of the New Testament, the true God and His 10 Commandments have no place in our laws, have no place in our government institutions, have no place in our education system. And so, for example, I'll just give a kind of an extreme example. Say under a Catholic civilization, pornography would be against the law.
Yes.
Because it destroys souls. It destroys the innocence of young people. I mean, we could go right down the line of all the damage it does spiritually and even in the physical order. But I mean, a Catholic civilization would say this is against God's law. It should not be allowed. But the Masonic godless order says freedom of the press. We have the freedom to do it. There is, who are they going to appeal to if the government is godless? And so basically, we just do whatever we want. And it's a means of corrupting laws and corrupting the peoples.
So I think the first thing we have to almost get back to the beginning, which is, if our rights to life come from the state, come from the legislator, come from the framers of the Constitution, then those rights can be taken away because you had a right today, we're not taking it away tomorrow because it's inconvenient, you're right. But if our rights come from God, they're inalienable. They can't be taken away from us because God gave them to us. And so if a state, if a country, if a state, if a public society is not founded on the laws of God and on the belief in God, then it's going to be founded on the whims of the most powerful, and they, in turn, who are the most godless, have the most. They don't have any conscience about killing their enemies. They don't have conscience about anything. They just
and people also will be at the mercy of unscrupulous public relations campaigns.
Well,
and to bend their thinking according to.
Well, I mean, so you have your elections. You have your election system. Who's got the most money, and who's the most the best liar in public in order to get their policy across, in order to get themselves elected president and other members of that's so. God has to come first if we're going to have our. We've got our book called Our Lady's Urgent Appeal. We wrote that in the 80s, but it still points out that and the enemies of God and the enemies of our souls, the enemies of us, want to corrupt us. As it is, you know, in the Old Testament, this prophet of God, but he was corrupted. The prophet, his name was Balaam, and Balaam said to the enemies of the people of God at that time, wanted Balaam to curse the people of God. He said, I can't do that. But he says, but if you want to win, here's how you do it. You get them to sin enough, so when they sin enough, then God's going to withdraw his protection, and then you'll be able to beat them because then God's withdrawn his protection. So the Masons and their fellow travelers, the Satanists and all those different kinds of people, the communists, they want to corrupt us so that if we take away God's protection because we've been so corrupted, then they can attack us, they can defeat us, they can destroy us, they can torture us, they can do what they want with us, so they can be rulers of the world. And so that's been one of their plans. I think you got a little booklet called, you know, what is the Alta Vendita?
The Alta Vendita, yes.
Yeah.
And we're running out of time here, but I would urge people to read Leo XIII's encyclical on Freemasonry, Humanum Genus. You can get it from the Fatima Center, and because you will see there that what Leo XIII warns of what Freemasonry wants to do to society, a completely godless society, we are here now. Whether we're in Canada, United States, or the European Union, it is the triumph of godlessness in social institutions, in government, in education, and in
medicine.
In medicine, and also in
law.
In social trends.
Yes.
You know, I mean, if you talk like a Catholic today, you're considered a right-wing extremist.
Yeah, whatever kind of. But the thing is, also should get your book. What is it called again?
Well, it's out of print. So,
we get it
we
back
have to reprint it.
No,
Yeah.
But
The permanent instruction of the Alta Vendita.
The permanent instruction
of the Alta Vendita.
Yes. And that instruction is to how to corrupt
the church.
The church.
That one was aimed at the church. Yes. Yeah. So that's all for today, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.